Hey, we're here today with Cindy, and I'm going to give her a great makeover. Cindy's got wonderful, thick, naturally wavy, curly hair, these very tousled, loose curls. So it's great hair. Right now you can see how long it is. She's got this longer bob shape that's really grown out a lot. Cindy's a natural auburn redhead, so we're going to keep her in that family. But what I want to do first is do the haircut, and then once I cut the shape in here, then I'll plan out where I'm going to put her color at. I know we want to keep her a deeper red, that coppery auburn brown. But what I do want to do is, because of the way I've done the hair, the way I'm going to do the haircut is I'm going to give her a little bit more of an asymmetric feel. I'm going to have her slightly shorter to this side with a little longer bang with length in there, but not this bulkiness through the sides and the neckline. But not severe either. I want Cindy to be able to wear her hair curly, or if she smoothed it out, it would have a great shape. So keeping that in mind, the way I'm going to cut it, once I touch up these roots with this deeper copper color, I'm going to go in and do a little balayage and paint some sun-kissed edges around the face and the longest part of her hair. That way, she'll have that lighter, brighter pieces around the face, which is very softening and just looks very youthful. It'll keep her bright around the face there too, but the best thing is it'll really play up the haircut. When she wears her hair curly, she'll have the tips of these curls with that little brighter peak of that intense copper blonde. So it'll really play up the cut and give that hair just a new look to it. So what I want to do first is I'm going to cut it, because I know once I cut that shape in there, then I'll plan where I'm going to put those highlights at. So what I want to do first, you can see, I've got her parted off and I've already shampooed her. So I like to determine, you've got to look at the face shape. That has so much to do with where you're going to leave it longer at, where you're going to cut it closer at. Now, you know, the ideal shaped face is an oval, and an oval shape can wear anything. It can be shorter, longer, flatter, fuller. So my thing is, I like to create the oval, give them the perfect shape, change their shaped face with the perfect haircut. When you look at Cindy's shaped face, she's got the nice, you know, she doesn't have a high forehead. She's narrow here at the forehead, a little wider at the jaw, and then narrow again. I would give Cindy an oval shape, so she could really wear any shape. And the shape that's the most flattering on her, because she does have tiny features and this great little profile, we do want to take this hair away from the neck and the sides. I'm going to leave her a little bit to tuck in, a little hair that if it's not tucked in, it'll still look good. So we do know her hair likes this side. So finding that natural fall, then we're going to find the flat of the head, because knowing where that's at, you're going to know this is where you don't want bulky weight at, because you want that to lay closer through the sides. So I'm going to use that as my guide, section this off. Same thing for the back. Wherever the comb leaves the head tells me where her head starts to curve, and where that head curves, you don't want it bulky on that curve, because that would be an odd shape. You want it to come down lower. So this tells us this is where the shortness is going to be at. See where the comb leaves the head. Same thing on this side. Now, the difference is on this shape is because I am going to leave one side slightly longer. You'll still find the flat of the head, but then the layering is going to be longer through this side. So you would still section this off. Come to this side, Ginger, and you can see. Still section this off. The flat of the head tells you where to remove weight at. Now, we've got that determined. We've got this hair out of the way. This is our insurance right here. This is how we determine where to leave length and where to cut it short. We've got, let's straighten this up just a tad bit right there. Get that a little neater. And now we've got a plan. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to start to this side. This is going to be our shorter side. When you come to the front, Ginger, you'll see this is kind of our guide here. We know in the crown or in the temple we want to keep the length to this side. So what's going to be the most flattering is hitting her right here at her cheekbone. So that'll be about the middle of the ear is where I want this hair to fall on this side. So when I lift this hair up, scissor over comb, I know now if I held the comb, it'd be all gone. I know that I want this hair to fall long, so I'm going to lift it out further. When I take this hair off, that removes that weight, and then you have the soft edge, and look where that's falling at. Right Beautiful. Where we want it at. Right where we want it at. So I've determined the length on the sides. Scissor over comb, and because I like doing it this way on this curly hair, I don't like to put a lot of tension on the hair and pull it straight, because I know what it's going to do. It's going to bounce up and be shorter. So I'm kind of holding it out almost how it would naturally. Same thing here. I know I want to hold this low. I don't want to hold this high. That'll determine the weight in the hair, where that weight line is going to be at. Combing it off, combing it up, and removing the bulk there. Now, we know, look how nice and soft that is. And you've kind of determined a little bit of a weight in there, and that's the hair I'll come back and clean off. But right here on this side, we're going to go to this ear, and we know we want this her longer side, and we don't want it severe, we want it subtle. So I'm going to take a little thinner section here and determine a hanging length right here. And I've got this right at the bottom of her ear. You see the hanging length over here is just slightly longer, just subtle, because we like this asymmetric feel. And what'll be great because Cindy's got curly hair. Now I'm going to connect this with the back here. And the way to do this is scissor over comb, lift this out. I'm going to grab, see, I know my guide's right there. I don't want that any shorter. Lift this up, take off this little bulky spot here. I like to do this. I mean, there's so many different ways you can do a cut. In this way, you can section it off in small sections and do it. But I like to do it where I can see the shape easier. To me, it's quicker. It gives a, for me, a more exact way to cut, because I'm looking at the whole shape of the head and not just right on top of it, looking at just the sections as you cut. Now you can see where her hair is just a little straggly, and what's nice is Cindy's hairline does not grow low at all. It's not low and hairy, so that's kind of a good thing. So I'm going to go in and take off with my little sharp tooth here, which leaves it so nice and piecey and ragged, and that's what you want, because that's what really keeps this hair looking feminine and soft and still sexy. So many times I think women think short hair is not sexy when it can be very, very sexy, and it all depends on the way that you wear it. You don't want it to look matronly. You want to keep it modern, keep it young by not overdoing your hair. Let it get a cut that really goes with your shaped head, with your shaped face, and with the way that your hair is. You know, if you've got baby fine hair, you can't have big voluminous hair. You're going to have to find a cut that looks good laying flat, and it's definitely possible. I think the worst thing is to try to force your hair into something that it doesn't want to do. So I've got the underneath determined. This is going to be our hanging length, and you can see from the front that already this is so nice off of Cindy's neckline here. Now I'm going to pull this down, and I'm going to remove some weight here. I've already determined the length, so I know where that hanging length is going to be. So I'm going to go right around the head, take this off, bring down one section here, and I'm going to cut this with my sharp tooth. That way it'll cut it without making it too blunt. It'll be ideal for her curls. So starting on the shorter side, I'm going to elevate it out slightly, converge it together, and take it off. That way she's not blunt and heavy, and it creates that little bit of movement on the edges without going too short. Because when you've got curly hair like this, you've got to have length on it for the curls to fall even and consistent. You want them to look that ringlet shape. And two, it's just gives you more styling options when you have some length on the hair. And people think short hair is not easy to change, but leaving that length on the top gives you some versatility, so you can have that option of changing it. You see I'm holding this down low and removing it. That way I've got a little bit of a subtle weight line, and once I dry this and check it, then I'll see if it needs a little tweaking. Once you cut this pattern in here, then you just really fit it to the client when you see it dry. You know what hair does. It shrinks, it waves, it moves. One area might be flatter, one area might be bulkier. So that's how you determine what else you need to do is when you see it finished and you play with it. So I'm doing section by section, pulling it down, keeping in mind that I'm going to have her side part over here. Now with each section I lift this up so it creates that little beveling or that edge, taking that edge not so blunt there. And this razor is fabulous. It really takes off as much as you want or as little as you want. And we designed this to do just cutting the bangs around the face or doing little fringes on the neck. Then we end up doing the entire haircut with it. Instead of just doing it to create texture, we actually cut shapes in the hair with it. And right now this is all you see. Now you do see a lot of the very modern, really contemporary, blunt looks, but you're really limited with that. This type you can really do it. It's ideal on curly hair. It's ideal on straight hair. It's great on bulky, thick, straight hair. So even baby fine hair can be cut with this. You can cut a bob with this. It'll be a little more jagged, modern bob with some movement on the ends. So you have several options. It's just how creative you want to be when you use this tool. Now you can see this is getting into the hair that I'm still getting hair to cut off. This is her longest side. I'm holding this out at 45 and just pinching together that little excess. I can feel it when I take it off, just to know where it comes off. And then, you know what? Like I said, once you dry it, she's going to wear her hair curly most of the time, but I'm going to dry it smooth. I'm going to flat iron it. I want to check to see where the weight's at, whether I need to take a little bit more. I know what's going to happen when it curls, because if it's going to look good straight, I know the shape is in there. So coming to the end here, taking off the last bit. See, lifting this out slightly more, taking off a little more. Working my way around the head. You can see now that the shape is coming out. I'm going to keep that in mind when I highlight it. And the highlighting I'm going to do is a balayage. I want to do a little hair painting with a little bit of our blue lightener in 20 volume, but I'll put that on once I put her base color on first. Very sexy haircut. Hair is coming forward. Hair's been coming forward for a while. Kind of in the face, very, very natural fall, not so contrived or every little hair in place. Just does not look good anymore. I mean, that's just not the style anymore. Now, I've determined the length. You can see I've got the hanging length. I've got her cut on the neckline at graduation. And the front is just like so cute on her now. What I don't want to do is leave it all one length. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start right here at the part and create a little bit of a guide for the top layer. And since we know we want it long to the side, to this side, I'm going to pull all my sections to the side and cut. That way it creates shorter at the part and longer over the eye. And keeps it from being one length. We don't want it one length. We want these curls to really turn into ringlets, and they will once this weight is off. And I'm cutting off some of this old color, so I have a nice fresh highlight. That subtle balayage on the ends will be nice. Now, I'm to the end here, Ginger. I'm going to finish this cut up a little bit more, and then I'm going to mix the color, and you'll get to see me apply the color. And when it's processed, you'll get to see her dried and smooth with her new look. Woohoo! Smooth and, flat ironed, and I've checked her haircut. I really cut no more off of Cindy's hair after I dried and flat ironed it. Cutting it with that razor, it really took the weight out in the right spot, and I knew what shape I wanted to do. So then I have my plan and I have my pattern, and I just go to work. And you can see when you have that pattern in mind, then you know what your end results are going to be. After cutting her, I did that color, I did that balayage, and she's got this little brightness of these intense copper ends in the front and the longest part of her bangs, which really play up the haircut. You can see how light and airy it is. It's got lots of texture from the cutting tool, from using that razor. And even on this is her slightly shorter side, hair that she can still tuck in. And she's got the closest in the neck and having enough fullness in the crown where she needs it. And even when you see this side here, this tends to be the little longer side that's got that asymmetric feel to it. Now, when Cindy wears her hair curly, she'll really have two completely different looks. Doing that hair with that curl in there will give it just a completely different look. I had fun doing your hair today, Cindy. You look great, and I enjoyed it. And thanks for watching.
Arrivederci.